Hi, it's Bryan Cranston, and I'm the guest this week on Don't Be Alone with Jay Kogan, and I have been alone with Jay. It's not pleasant.
Don't be alone with Jay Kogan.
Hi, debauchers. I don't know what to call people who listen to this show. Don't Be Alone with Jay Kogan. Debaucher. I don't know. Hi. It's Jay Kogan. Welcome to Don't Be Alone with Jay Kogan, a show where I get interesting people to talk about my problems, and you get to listen. So thank you for being here. If you have any comments or suggestions, please email me at dbawjk@gmail.com. That is letters stand for Don't Be Alone with Jay Kogan @gmail.com. And you can email me with anything you have to say to me. Hopefully it's compliments. Jay, how handsome you are is really, that's appreciated. Gee, you're funny is pretty great. You know, I'm out of compliments. That's the only two compliments I could possibly think of. But anyway, write me with your compliments or your criticisms or your suggestions. But listener questions are really, really appreciated. I'm running out of listener questions. And so I'm just going with knock-knock jokes. And that's going to be really sad when we do the knock-knock jokes for listener questions. Today, we're going to be talking about something that is essential to any form of life, which is commitment. When you decide to do something, and you want to do something and you're just hemming and hawing and stopping yourself because you're afraid or because you think it's going to suck or because you're not sure how it's going to work out, you automatically ruin the thing that you wanted to do. I'm giving this advice because it's something that plagues me all the time. I commit to a lot of things, but sometimes when I don't commit, it's a mess, especially when it's in terms of writing or acting or in family life. If you say yes to something and you don't really want to do it and you hem and haw, you make that event pretty crappy too. So commitment has to happen. I learned very early on when I was doing improv at the Groundlings that if you committed to anything, it's going to be great. There was an exercise where they say, try to be terrible. And you commit to being the worst possible character you could possibly be in a scene. That scene always turns out funny, because you're committing and people are looking at you committing and people are looking at you doing that thing. If I could just bring that to things in my life that I want to accomplish, like losing more weight, being more physically fit, having more fun in my life, being more productive, having a podcast. Oh, wait, I have a podcast. Oh, I committed. Look at me. I committed to having a podcast. So my 15 listeners, thank you for listening. You make me feel like this commitment has been worthwhile. My guest today is one of the most committed people I know. It's Bryan Cranston, the famous Bryan Cranston, who was Hal on Malcolm in the Middle, and that's where I got to work with him. But he's also, on Breaking Bad, and he's been in movies, and he's been Lyndon Johnson, and he's done a million things in his storied career, and all of which he's brought a level of commitment, a level of humanity, and skill to make things amazing. And I have always been impressed by him, and I'm still impressed, and I'm thrilled that he's going to be here to talk about why he is committed to things and why I suck. And we'll hear about that right after this.
Don't be alone with Jay Kogan.
We're rolling. Okay, so we're rolling. Everything you say now is being recorded, Bryan Cranston.
Oh my God.
Bryan Cranston, thank you for being here. It's a thrill. I'm told you're an actor.
I'm trying.
Would you have been in anything I've seen?
Not usually. Some industrial films, occasional commercials in other languages.
Well, that's good, because I want you to talk about the beauty of industrial films to our audience, who are mostly actors who want to do industrial films.
Is that what it is?
Mostly what it is.
How do you know your audience?
There are 4 of them, so I can really.
All 4 of those people write in and say, Jay,
we want more industrial.
Talk about this.
Yeah. No, this is a podcast called Don't Be Alone with Jay Kogan about me and my problems. So I get really smart, funny people to come and talk to me about my issues.
Now, of course, when I first heard that you were doing this,
right,
I thought there's a comma missing.
Yes.
It's like, don't be alone with Jay Kogan.
Right. No, I know.
That guy is a little freaky. Don't ever be alone with Jay Kogan.
I'm aware that some people have that take on it. And hey, They can have their take.
Yeah.
Whatever their experiences with me that merit that interpretation.
If you just had a little comma after alone.
I know. I made the with small.
Yeah.
So it's just don't be alone with Jake Hogan as opposed to don't be alone with Jake Hogan.
That's the way I took it.
I invited you here for a couple reasons, one of which I'm thrilled that I got the chance to sort of work with you at Malcolm in the Middle. Like as a writer, I was sitting in a room, not really working with you, but writing stuff for you and knowing that you would do anything we asked you to do in an amazing way. Like we would ask you to roller skate or pogo stick or whatever, and you would say, great. When can I get the pogo stick to work with it? At what point can I get the roller skates? And will there be a choreo? Like how can I start the process of perfecting this weird ass stupid thing that you're asking me to do? And never a complaint, never a...
Jay, you're making a living as an actor?
Yeah.
Is there any room to complain? Come on.
I'm going to introduce you to a few people I've worked with.
Yeah, I don't want to work with those people.
You can explain it to them.
Yeah, and in truth, as I'm 60, I'll be 68 soon. I've gotten to the point now where I don't want to work with those people.
Yeah.
I don't want to work with people who complain. So now that I lead series or movies or something or theater, I want my company to realize how lucky we are.
Right.
Everybody have fun.
Yeah.
Let's create.
Right.
Mutual respect.
How great is that?
Go home.
Right. Okay. Well, that is a very beautiful and lovely thing. That doesn't work that way in all of show business. Has not been my experience, but you get to have that, and I'm thrilled about it. But also, your past experience of being a working actor has brought you to this place where you can have the gratitude enough to realize this. We're lucky. We're lucky to do this. That's fantastic. By the way, did you want something to drink?
I have a water.
You do? Oh, you're such a professional. You put it down.
I put it down.
Oh, you're so good.
It doesn't look good. Can you imagine having a drink and putting it on the table? Oh, boy. Sorry.
Humming.
Wow.
You don't know this, but I grew up in the Valley, and I am very familiar with the parts of the places that you kind of grew up with.
Wow.
My sister and I used to go to the Corbin Theater early on in our lives, and we used to, Saturday they had a matinee, and they gave away things.
Yeah.
My sister won a bicycle at the Corbin Theater.
That's incredible.
Yes.
It's almost criminal. The cops are coming.
I don't know if they could hear it, but yes, that's why we filmed the show in Hollywood, so we can have the feel of
it's gritty.
The people who are, the businesses that are closing, the police that are coming by.
Well, as I said when I first got here, this building reminds me of old Hollywood.
Yeah, it
in
does.
those days, back in the late 70s, early 80s, when I was making the rounds and dropping off a picture and resume and reading for a line of frat boy kid or
and
whatever.
All the businesses going out of business here remind me of New Hollywood.
That's so, oh my God. It's I know.
It's rough out there. Yeah. It's rough out there. You have, and we'll talk about the Jake Hogan problem in a second, but you have a new movie out called Argyle.
Yeah.
Is it mostly about socks, or is it just partially?
And not just socks, but Argyle sweaters and all kinds of, the Argyle pattern is what it's about.
Yeah. So Matthew Vaughn? Yeah. He's amazing, isn't he?
He's an amazing filmmaker. He did the Kingsman movies and Layer Cake. And this is a crazy spoof of the spy genre.
Okay.
And it's fun, and it's just audacious.
Yeah.
You're watching this and laughing because you can't believe what you're seeing, but it's got a sweet story to it, and it 12 legitimate twists to this movie. If you go in thinking I'm about to watch the great American cinema classic, you're fooling yourself.
But if you go in thinking I'm going to have fun,
This is a distraction for 2 hours.
Right.
But it's really, really accomplished filmmaking in that
and
regard.
Visually delicious,
God,
I mean, unbelievable.
Really fun.
I've noticed when I watch his movies, like, they worked out the transitions before they worked out the script.
Yeah,
like all the filming transitions are going from that to that to that to that. It's like, fantastic.
Indeed, yeah. He's quite accomplished, and we had a good time shooting this, and the cast was fun, and we got to play in this heightened reality. and I got to play a bad guy, you know, twisting my mustache. And
Yes.
it was a blast.
Fantastic. I have not seen it yet because I don't care for your work, but
I don't blame you.
But
Yeah.
I will eventually see it when I get a free moment to go to the theaters.
It is very good, actually.
It's only in the theaters, right?
It's in the theaters
Yeah.
right now, but it's going to be on Apple.
Yeah, but I'm
Apple
going to see it in the
TV.
theater. You should see it in the
That
theater.
would be
right?
fantastic.
That's
See
what,
it in the
what you
theater.
want to see it. One question about Woodland Hills in Topanga, which is kind of where you grew.
Canoga Park.
Canoga Park.
Yeah, the poor section of the West Valley.
Remember the giant slide that was on Topanga Canyon?
Sure do.
That sort of
Topanga Plaza.
Topanga Plaza, the hottest piece of plastic in the world. Like it was sitting on the sun. And in the middle of July, kids of all ages would go up,
burn your ass
on a
your way down.
sandbag, and give it a sandbag, and then slide down a burning plastic slide. And that was fun. And we paid for it.
Paid for it and enjoyed it.
I know, very
Do you
strange.
also remember around that time, I think I'm older than you. In fact, there was also trampoline centers. Do you remember the trampoline centers?
In Tarzana, there was a gigantic trampoline land. Like, and it was like, I think it was called like the Broken Leg, but I'm not exactly sure. But it was like, you would you would jump up and down for forever. And
kids would get broken arms and things
everything.
all over the place,
and no one would get sued.
No, it was
it
was
like,
not a litigious time back then.
Didn't know.
You were like, the tough break.
Parents didn't know.
They didn't know.
Yeah, they broke a leg.
Yeah,
there was so many dangerous and
once
horrible
lawyers
things.
got a hold of that, they thought, okay, that's the end of anything remotely dangerous.
I went to the Tarzana jumping whatever all the time. I went to Topanga Plaza slide all the time. Went ice skating in the
Topanga
Plaza Mall
yeah.
all the time. And we rode our bikes from, I lived in Encino. We rode our bikes from Encino to Topanga and then back again, or Northridge or whatever. It was like, had the run of the valley with just a bicycle, and nobody knew where we were.
That's exactly true. I mean, back in those days, our parents didn't know where we were. Right. You just had a sense of when you had to be home. If it was dark and you're not home, you can get in trouble. So it's like you kind of gauge, I got to get home. And also there was kind of a Pony Express experience in my neighborhood where everybody knew the parents of so-and-so and your kids and where they lived.
Yeah.
And if you happen to be riding by a house and they'd say, Jonathan!
Right.
And you go, oh, Jonathan.
Right.
And then you see Jonathan a mile away. You go, John, you got to get home. Your mom's yelling at you. Okay, thanks.
That was amazing. It's so the opposite of what my son was raised. My son is about 22 years old, and he hasn't had a moment that hasn't been supervised and escorted and all that kind of. It's insane.
It's kind of sad though, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, he's very sad. We've made him a very sad child.
Very sad
very unhappy. No, but he is of his generation, of that generation. But it is sad to me because I went through it differently. But he doesn't know any better.
No.
And it's fine by him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Although my daughter, who's 30, one of her favorite shows is the Andy Griffith Show, where she got to see Opie Taylor just take a fishing pole down to the lake, hop on his bike. I'll see you at home. Free rein, just that kind of innocence and freedom.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I think there are places in the world that probably still have that. It's just not here. And that's a very strange place to grow. LA it's a pretty weirdly safe, at least seemed it for a long time. It's a pretty safe thing. I knew hundreds of kids and nobody got into any kind of trouble from other people. Right. They got into all kinds of trouble themselves.
Yes.
They broke things, they stole things, they got drugs, all that. It was all of us acting badly for ourselves,
it's
but
our
no
own
creepy
damn
people
fault.
coming up and making us do bad things.
That's on the sign when you come into the San Fernando Valley. It says, "Welcome to the San Fernando Valley, no creepy people."
So you became an actor. Why did you become an actor? Why?
For the girls.
Okay. Did it work out?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
I got a lot of girls.
Yeah, I became an actor for the girls.
Yes.
It didn't work out so much for me. You know what I mean? I may not have been as good an actor as you.
We know that to be true.
That is a fact. That is a fact. Yeah.
But I was going to I went to Valley Junior College.
Okay.
Also in the San Fernando Valley, and we didn't have any money, so I was going to go for 2 years and then transfer to UCLA to study police science. And then when I turned 21
plan, by the way.
with my 4-year degree,
Right.
I'd go into LAPD, and
Right.
there's my 20 years, and that was the
Right.
general plan
Okay.
when I was 16
Right.
years old.
So you were already living in Canoga Park, where all the cops were anyway.
That's where I had a lot of cops.
Yeah. All right.
So I respected it, the occupation, and I really was gung ho, and I was actually pretty good at it. I was a police explorer out of the West Valley Division
Okay. All right.
when I was 16 years old, and I graduated first in my class at the LAPD Academy.
What were some of the things that police explorers did?
We studied police procedure,
Right.
the codes, physical training, crowd control. Things like that, registered bicycles so there was don't get stolen. I think so. It's kind of like a Boy Scout in training to become a police officer. And I thought, well,
I was an explorer scout,
oh yeah,
which was not associated though with the police. It
no,
was-
and this was associated with the Boy Scouts, but it was sanctioned by the LAPD.
Okay.
And so every division had an explorer scout group.
Was there like an interrogation badge?
Yeah, like waterboarding.
Yeah, exactly.
They'd give you a waterboard.
Yeah,
you know,
or just practice on your friends at Valley College. Like, can you
like-
sit in this chair
Yeah.
for 20 minutes? I'm going to do good cop, then
Yeah.
I'm going to do bad cop, and you just tell me which is bad.
Let me just attach these electrodes to your
Right.
earlobes.
Sure.
You'll
Yeah.
feel a little pinch.
It's going to be fine.
It's not gonna.
Yeah.
Well, let me know if it's too much. I'll turn it down.
Because this is just for fun. Yeah.
And I was pretty good at it. But then in my second year of studying police science at Valley College, I took this acting class, and my job in the acting class, my very first day, 19 years old, was to kiss this pretty girl in a scene, and I was like, oh my God. This is so much better than
So
police
much better.
science.
So much better.
You know, if you tried to, first of all, you wouldn't really want to kiss any of the few girls that were in police science.
Right.
But in theater,
Yeah. They're great.
that's
Beautiful, needy. So they're looking for experimental, little bit
they're
adventurous,
daring.
Yeah,
Yes!
the best.
That's what you love.
When I was an actor, I was kind of an idiot, and I was not good at. Although I did get to date a lot of girls in theater, which is one of the great reasons of theater. But a girl came to me and said, "I want to rehearse this scene with you," and it was a kissing scene. And I think she was flirting with me, and she wanted to make out. And I didn't get it at all. And I really struggled with the scene, and she started doing it. I said, wait, let's really get this going.
Yeah.
Let's really figure out our characters. She just wanted to make out, and I didn't get it. I was too stupid.
So you got to jump in and take a chance, swim around with the sharks.
I didn't get it. I didn't get it. Now I get it. Well, this leads me a little bit to my backhanded way to my issue. I find that life requires commitment. Commitment. To commit to whatever it is you want to do. If you're going to be an actor, you have to commit to be an actor.
Yeah.
If you're going to be a policeman, you commit to being a policeman.
Or
if you're
even
gonna,
a husband or a father.
or a father or a friend
Yeah.
or you, as I said at the beginning, are one of the most committed actors I've ever met in my life, I've ever seen. I mean, all great actors commit. You commit with everything you've got in every way, and it's not to blow smoke, but you're just really good and committing to it. And I've never seen anybody do it so hard and so strong, and it's fantastic. And you never say no to something that you think is going to be worthwhile to the part, and fantastic. And there's no complaints. That I wish I had more of what you have. And I grew up kind of where you grew up.
Yeah.
I grew up kind of in the style of how you grew up, but I don't have that same ultimate commitment. I hem and I haw, I pause, I weigh things, I wait before I go, I let fear stop me before I do that thing. So what's your thing?
I get that but I think if I didn't have a few experiences when I was a kid, I wouldn't have been able to be in that position to make those leaps of faith.
Yeah.
Either. One was when I was 11. And I had this crush on this girl in fifth grade, Carolyn. And I really wanted to ask her out. In those days, you ask a girl to go steady, you give them the St. Christopher medal, regardless of your affiliation with any religion.
So she could wear a piece of jewelry.
A piece of jewelry.
Right.
And you're going steady. And even though you didn't know exactly what that meant,
right.
you just, it sounded cool and adult.
And then like 3 days later, they broke up with you and you don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Sure. You're going steady. We're going steady? We are? Okay. Yeah. But now we're not going steady. What happened?
What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
It was unsteady to begin
very
with.
unsteady.
Yeah. And so I thought I had this crush on this girl and I wanted to ask her out, and I hesitated. We were at a party. Now is the time. I'm going to do it. I hesitated. Some other guy walked up and said, "Hey, you want to go steady?" She says, "Yes." They kiss and off they go.
There you go.
It devastated me. And it taught me that he who hesitates doesn't get the girl.
Right. That 11-year-old boy said, "I'm never going to wait again.
Don't wait.
I'm just going to jump."
It's better to jump in.
Okay.
And that helps, like in classes, like what I've really loved, comedy improv. And I tell kids who are starting out, if you want to really get the juices going and lubricate the engine of your life, get into a comedy improv class, because every week you're getting up on stage, you're standing on stage for a moment going, I have no idea what I'm about to do up here.
Right.
And if you can somehow get relatively comfortable in that place, man, when you do know what you're going to do, when you have a script, when you've worked on it, you have so much more confidence.
It's interesting. I did the Groundling. We're right by the Groundlings Theater. I was a Groundling for many years. I loved improv, and I don't think I'd be a writer or an actor or anything without that training where you have to go and you learn not to be afraid of that. So I'm not afraid of acting, even though I should be, because I'm not very good. But I'm not afraid of acting. I'm not afraid of improv. It's interesting that I'm more afraid of writing. That the process of writing, which is lengthy and difficult and is a long road, and you begin it and then you end it, and you're going to have to sort of build this project. That's the thing that sort of is you have to gather your strength before you do that.
So you have a love-hate relationship with your own occupation?
Oh God, yes, and we all do. I don't think there's a writer who doesn't.
Really?
Because it's hard.
Yeah, and I wonder, I write as well, but it's not my form of income. I don't need to write.
Right.
So I have the freedom to be able to write what I want, when I want.
Right.
And that must be the big difference.
It is. And do you worry about, when you're writing, what it is, if it's a book or it's a play or whatever, do you worry about how it will be perceived and whether it will be successful and how you'll mount it and get it done and all that kind of
thing? None whatsoever.
All right.
I write for the joy of expression and storytelling.
Okay.
And if there's a life after that, then great.
Well, that's why I hate you. Right there.
Yes,
that's why I hate you. Because you write for the joy of writing and storytelling. I have stories. I care about that. But I want the end results. The end results, it matters to me.
It shouldn't.
I know.
Let me tell you something. Once I had an epiphany when I was probably 38, 37 years old or so.
Is it about going steady with the fifth grader?
Yeah, okay. Exactly right. And I said, this is wrong.
Right, yeah, it's good. Good for you.
No, it was that, I'm doing this all wrong, the audition process.
Right.
And it was all about this, that I was looking at an audition as a job interview.
Right. Which
makes sense, because a casting director is casting a movie or a television show, whatever, and they need to hire actors. I'm an actor, and so I'm here to try to get this job. But what happens to a person when they enter into an environment with want or need? What happens to them?
Their mind goes to the want and the need.
That's exactly
gets
right.
Taken off of the job at hand.
They are
distracted,
letting their power slip away and out of their control. Right. Because you want or need something. Right. You need approval or acceptance or validation. And I realized, that's not what my job is at all.
Right.
My job is not to go in there to get a job.
Right.
My job is to go do a job.
Right.
Right? So if I just focused on doing what I do, creating a character, working on it, serving the play or the movie or whatever it is, and present them with what I do, here it is.
Right.
it's a gift. So I try to teach young actors, take this on, value yourself and your work and your talent. You develop a character and you present it to them as a gift. Free. I'm giving you, I really worked hard on this, and I do have talent, and I'm presenting this. And if you like it, take it.
It's also, in the same vein, the performance, and again, this is now when they videotape auditions, it's not quite as fun, but walking into a room full of people and performing is in and of itself the thing. It's the performance, and you're giving your performance, you're exercising your craft, you're making something happen, and regardless of how it's perceived, you've done the thing you've been trained to do, and you did it, and you can walk away and not worry about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is the big difference. If young actors can take a hold of that, then that way the gift is, and the joy is in the doing and not in some end result that may or may not happen that is out of your control and someone else's decision.
And the only parts I ever got were parts I didn't give a shit about because I didn't have that worry. I was like, I was walking in just, I'm just going to have fun.
Whatever.
And that relaxed performance, that center of concentration was exactly the thing that producers saw. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and that's what you want to be able to do with all the work.
Right.
It's not that you don't give a shit. You do, and you care, and you work.
Yeah.
But it's only about creating that character, and then you let it go.
Right.
Creating and let it go. And you don't, I would do these things once I accepted this, and I would go home and forget about it.
Right.
I wouldn't even think of it again.
Right.
As opposed to early on when you're calling your agent, did they like me?
Right.
Is there feedback? Do they think, give me something, give me something?
Well, I'm that way now. When I pitch a show, I don't call anybody. If I get a phone call, then they like it. If I didn't get a phone call, that's no.
That's exactly
and
right.
that's fine.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I've certainly gotten to that age where it's like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
It's, although the thing that I'm presenting, the show that I'm making, I desperately still want somebody to love it. But it may not be them, but I still want somebody to love it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the frustrating part.
Yeah.
As a writer, producer myself, it's like you really believe in this.
Right.
This is going to be great.
Right.
And they're not. And you really work on that presentation and you pitch it and it's concise. It's not.
Right.
And boom, 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 bang.
Right. You've given them the image. You've given the thing. They're like, you got it. I'm leaving nothing on the table. And they still go, no, not for us.
Not for us.
Yeah, that's always disconcerting. Now, you're also, since a producer, people pitch shit to you all the time.
Yeah.
So you're on the other side of the table, trying to be polite, listening to a pitch that you don't really care for, and not some things you like, some things you don't like, but now you also know what they're going through when they say, we just heard 30 different pitches and we can tell this is not for us. And they're politely listening to it. They know from the first second this is not right, but they're going to be smiling and laughing and nodding and looking at each other because they're trying to be nice and human beings. Yeah. So
that's good.
So I'm not blaming people for not loving my ideas. There's no blame. It's just disappointing.
It's disappointing.
Yeah.
But you still put in the work. You still put in the effort. I remember one guy came and pitched my partner and I a story that he was kind of going, and then that happens, and then this guy comes and he does this, and it's just kind of, and he wasn't excited about it, and I go, I don't see how that works. If every week we're going to see him do the same thing, and then he said to his response to that comment, how does that work where we're going to see the same, where we don't see the same thing every week? And he said, it's broadcast. and at that moment I went, I never want to work with this guy.
It's broadcast. So
what difference?
Does he come from the theater? Does he come from
he came
movies?
from broadcast television.
Okay, so broadcast.
Like it's come on, we can get away with it.
We'll wing it.
We'll wing it. It's good enough.
Oh, God.
He didn't prepare. It's like I couldn't wait for that guy to leave my office.
I usually wait 2 or 3 months onto a project before I let everybody know, we're winging it. We're just going to wing it.
Sometimes you have to.
Yeah, I guess so. Oh, that's horrible.
It's fun.
Also, I heard you talk to somebody, it may have been Terry Gross or somebody like that, about going to a farm at some point in your life. Going to...
Is that, you mean when I die?
No,
like when you
not
tell
the
a
big
child,
farm. Not the farm, but like...
Listen, Sparky went to live on a
right,
farm.
Right. He's very happy. Brian's very happy on the farm.
Very happy on the farm.
No, that when your parents were having trouble and you went somewhere you learned a different kind of, work ethic from being raised in a different place.
Well, it was when my parents split up, I was 11. And
the fifth grade, the same time.
11. I think we hung out for most of my sixth grade, and then I didn't start junior high in the Valley. I was shipped off with my brother because we lost the house. I didn't see my dad. It was bad, and we lived with our maternal grandparents in a little community called Yucaipa.
I know Yucaipa.
Which is on the way out to Palm Springs.
Dated a girl from Yucaipa.
Oh, did you?
I did. Oh. That's geographically undesirable.
Undesirable.
Yeah.
But we went kicking and screaming. Our grandparents were very strict, but soon we learned that what my brother and I needed was parental guidance, which we weren't getting from our actual parents.
Right.
And they gave us parameters of how we can operate within here.
Right.
And they made us, our homework, chores, all these things, and then have additional jobs in order to have some spending money.
Right.
So it was all about work.
Were you resentful about this at first?
At first, it was like, wow, we're two suburban kids coming from the south, going out to it was nothing out there. This is in the late 60s.
There's nothing there still. I don't know what people do for fun in Yucaipa.
Yeah. It was a quaint, bucolic kind of environment, and we enjoyed that. By the time it was time to move back with our mother a year later, we didn't want to go because we started to realize, within these parameters of guidance, we can actually thrive.
Right. So that discipline, in addition to the attitude of commitment, giving all your energy, there's the discipline of that is essential because it's not just commitment, you have to put in the work. You have to take the time to figure out what it is you want to do to make the things you want to make happen.
You can be taught a work ethic.
Right.
That's one thing that can be taught.
Yeah.
Whether or not you then apply it to your life is another question altogether. And I knew that when I started acting, I saw people that were much better than me, and some that were just better than me, some that were as good as me, and some not as good as me. Some were horrible. So I was kind of somewhere in the middle. And I realized, how can I get out of the middle and get into that top group?
Right.
Well, one way that I know is that I can outwork everyone.
Right.
And I use that work ethic to say, I am just powering through.
Right.
I don't want to go to any parties. I don't want to do any of that. I'm here to be an actor. And by God, I'm going to eventually make it.
It shows. I must say, it shows. When we did, like I said, we did Malcolm. It shows. It shows in Breaking Bad. It shows in so many of Lyndon Johnson. I mean, you work your ass off.
It takes that, but you have to really enjoy it. You have to really, truly enjoy it. There's 4 parts to be a successful actor in your craft. One is you have to have talent. You also have to have an insatiable curiosity. You have to be able to love the research, love reading the biographies on LBJ, and love talking to the speechwriter and talking. And you have to be all in on that.
Right.
The third thing is that you have to be willing to open up your own treasure chest, your own life experience, so that when the character is in full rage, you can't say, I'll fake that. It's like, when was I in complete rage? Let me pull that out. It's not a thing you want to show people in your real life, but by God, you can use it in your acting life. Jealousy, rage, avarice, any kind of these things that you don't really want to be. This is what you have to do.
I've never experienced human emotion. So for me, it's more difficult.
See, it's Yeah.
I have to observe it in a distant kind of way and then pretend to do it.
Yes.
Yeah. Which makes it different.
There are actors like you.
Right. No, I know. I mean, when you say I'm the one who knocks, I believe you're the one who knocks. That's, I knock on doors, but I don't have that kind of rage. Yeah,
it is tapping into that.
Yes.
Tap into those times.
But at the same time you're doing that,
furious.
Tell me about this. The same time you're tapping into that, you're also technically working on your blog. You're standing where you're supposed to stand, and you have lines to remember. It's not just emotion. It's emotion combined with all these things that you have to do at the same time and be, real at the same. It's fascinating that and seemingly impossible to do all that at the same time.
Well, it's obviously because there are fine actors in our world. It's not impossible.
Right.
It's just we don't know their process.
Right.
And until you start doing it over and over and over again, I get the process.
Right.
So it's any 16-month-old, 18-month-old can sing "Happy Birthday" to you. Because they hear it over and over and over again. The difference is that repetition plus connectivity of intellect or emotion is how you memorize lines.
Right.
Why is my character saying this? You have to keep asking yourself. Right. So it's not just an intellectual exercise of what are these words I'm trying to say. You're tying them to what your character would say.
Right, which is why when a 16-month-old sings "Happy Birthday" to me, I make them do it again till they mean it.
That's right.
That they want to feel like they really say "Happy Birthday" to Jay. I'll let them go at that point.
Hey, buddy, try that again. This time, really give me some emotion with it, and don't spit up. When you're saying.
Please. In addition to tapping into what you've got going on inside, you're also committing, as you say, curiosity to observing the world around you and of other people. Aren't you taking things from the world you see and say, I know that character. That character isn't me, but it's like people I've seen or people I've known, and just taking pieces of that and placing them into you to make that happen. Right. Is that true or is that not true?
Oh, absolutely true. Our job as actors is to observe human behavior and then replicate it in the most unnatural setting as you can imagine.
Right.
And I used to go back in the day when you can go deep into an airport and right by the gates and see people coming in, going out, ready to board or coming off. An airport's fantastic for heightened emotion.
Right.
People are excited about leaving. People are dreading leaving. Yeah. People are kissing goodbye. Right. And my God, this is sad. They're not going to see it. People going back to go to a funeral. Yeah. People, it's just amazing. So you can study human behavior. And I used to sit there and watch people. I wouldn't go anywhere. I was just there to watch people. And I'd watch people and I'd try to guess the relationship. And I get close. I go, this couple is further along in their relationship than that couple because, just body language and attentiveness.
Right.
And, they go, they're pretty new.
Right.
When you're comfortable with someone, you don't even have to look at them very much.
And the couple are just waving at each other. See ya.
Yeah.
They've been married a while.
They've been married a while. Yeah, and you can also spot a couple that's about to dissolve a coupling.
Right.
And you go, wow, look at that. You could feel the energy slipping away from them. Anyway, our job is to study that.
Right.
And then being able to put that in the memory bank.
Right.
And then when you need it, you pull it out and go, I think, because this couple is brand new and even though maybe my age, but it's rekindling something, it's fresh. And so they're acting maybe a little more childlike and it's fun.
Isn't it amazing that there's a group of actors and writers I know who are very observant of people and are very intuitive and get people. They're very smart and very funny. But there's also a group of actors and writers I know who are on planet Mars. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, honestly, like how can you be a writer or an actor observing life and also live life like you're not in the same room as other people, that you don't understand what's going on?
I would venture to say that those people are not as talented a writer or actor. I would say
maybe
because their well is going to to be depleted much quicker than the person who's constantly feeding it and learning more and taking in more and observing more and reading more and has that curiosity and just absorbing.
There are stories about Marlon Brando and other people, some of the greatest actors in the world, like at least at some point in their life, they just stopped being regular people and just became something else. Maybe because they've had too much input, but.
Well, it's true. Like Marlon Brando became the most recognized and famous actor on the planet at one point. And he resented that because it forced him to not be who he wanted to be. He was forced out of his comfort zone, and the fawning, the attention, and the constant comment, oh my God, you're such a great, he just wanted to get away from me. I don't know how to deal with that. And when you first start out as an actor, you don't get any of that. They don't know you. So you can observe people without being recognized yourself. Now, if I'm at an airport, I usually wear a mask so that I'm not as recognizable, so that I can still observe people or kind of navigate my way through without having attention drawn to me.
And still be that. It must be, it's sad to have that ripped away from you at a certain point.
It's not, I wouldn't say it's sad.
Oh, it's a tragedy.
Is it a tragedy?
It's a tragedy. Yes.
Tragic.
It is tragic. It's so sad.
It is such a tragedy to be a celebrity.
No,
it's not. It's just different.
That you have to negotiate it, I imagine. I can walk through any airport and no one's going to bother me. I don't have that issue.
It's
okay.
It's an exchange. You exchange some anonymity, but you get in return opportunity.
Affection, love. I mean, there are people in the world that strangers, people you don't know, that really like you and like your work and like what the humanity you brought to your parts. That's pretty cool.
It is cool. But if you live in that, that's where the actor can get too full of themselves and take on too much and think that they're greater than they really are.
You never did. When you got famous and big, you still kind of acted like you're the struggling actor a little bit. Like at least your persona as that you never seemed to be. I contacted you for this. You never seemed to be unapproachable. You never seemed to be like that. You've been affected by it. Maybe because you had enough time getting to where you got to appreciate where you were and not.
I think so. I think and, Malcolm. I was 40. When Malcolm came along. So I was already a working actor since I was 25 years old, right? So 15 years of just being a journeyman actor and working here, working there, and no one knowing who I was. And then Malcolm happens, and then it elevated, then Breaking Bad, and it elevates some more. And then that gave me opportunities.
Do you gravitate, if you're in a room of the SAG Awards, do you gravitate towards the working actors or the big stars or just people that you know? Like
I do understand why celebrity, I didn't understand when I was younger why celebrities seem to hang with other celebrities. Is because there isn't fawning. You're on the same level, and there isn't this there isn't this kind of imbalance of attention. When you're with fans, they want to talk about you. They want to talk. They want to take pictures with you. They want to talk about your shows. And it's completely imbalanced. And you end up kind of deflecting and, well, thank you very much. And, but if you stayed in that environment, it would be all about you. And quite frankly, it's boring.
It is. I understand that it's boring. It's a weird exchange. It's a weird exchange.
Yeah, it is.
To walk up to somebody, if you're a super fan, somebody that you're a fan of, I'm sure you walked up and say, I appreciate the work you did at such and such. Somebody you may not know, and that's the exchange. It's just
and that's really wonderful. It's great.
Me saying thank you to this person who brought me something amazing, but there is no. That person can't say anything back because they've already given me that thing. Elvis Costello, I said this story on this show a couple of times. I met Elvis Costello 45 times, like a bunch of times. I've sat in a room with him. I played charades with him. But I'm like, your music means so much to me, sir. Or Bruce Springsteen, your music means, it's not a conversation. Can't have the conversation. They have nothing to say back to me other than thank you.
Right.
And so I no longer try to have that conversation with too many people because it's very unsatisfying to me, other than saying, I get to say thank you, and that's enough. End the conversation. What I really want is, with some of those people, is an in-depth conversation about their art and how they got to where they're going and what they think, what brought you to that song and that moment in your life, and and what was the process and all that. And there's nowhere to have that conversation.
Yeah, there is. This is the forum for that.
I guess, but
get Elvis Costello on this program.
Elvis Costello, can you please come on my show?
Get him on the show.
I'll try to get him on. I've tried Elvis, and we can talk about anything you want to talk about. Why you wear hats, why you don't wear hats, any of those things.
And plus, so that it's understood, is that coming here today, I know this is what we're going to talk about.
Right.
So I'm ready to talk about it.
Right.
But if I'm not doing your show,
right,
I don't want to talk about it.
Right.
I'm not standing on the street corner ready to talk. Excuse me, can I talk? Right. Listen, when I was in 7th grade, I did a play, and I don't want to talk about it.
Right.
So it's about balance. And so when we get opportunity, I just came off, we're Argyle. We did 2 weeks of press for Argyle. 2 weeks of press, one after another, and it's challenging to come up with different ways of answering the same question.
It's its own art form.
It's an interesting approach, and I'm really happy for the opportunity.
Right.
But when that stops, when we're not doing the red carpet, when millions of people are not taking pictures and video and one after another with interviews, I want to shut down.
Right.
I want to take the circuits down, be a human being. Oh, I got to take out the trash.
Right.
Oh, and the dog, I got to clean up after the dog on my walk. I want to be a human being.
Right.
And that's the way you have to navigate.
To do that press junket, do you have to adopt at a certain point kind of a character like Press Bryan, where, just like I'm going to turn it on and I'm going to answer the same question, I'm going to laugh at it and just be that person.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
All right.
It's a performance.
Yeah. It's required for, if you care about the movie and you want the movie to
you'd be surprised how there are many actors who don't take on the press as part of their responsibility, and I think it's a huge mistake. I
mean, do they not see their involvement in it as part of that process? Like, how does that?
I think that's for some that's part of it. Others, they're not comfortable. They're shy by nature.
Right.
Being able to perform on screen or on stage is kind of an anomaly bubble that they get to do, and they wouldn't normally do that in their life, and they kind of like to be unassuming and don't talk to me, and and they're not comfortable. Others are more raconteur, and they tell stories.
I know that Jonah Hill came out at some point and said, I'm not doing any press on any movie ever again for his own mental safety.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, if I'm a producer and I know that this guy's not going to do that, I might really seriously try to find somebody other than Jonah Hill to be in my movie. Because I do want my movie to succeed, and I want it to get as many breaks as it can. Yeah. And if one of the stars or the main star is not going to talk about it, I'm fucked.
It's a dilemma.
Yeah.
But I don't disagree with Jonah's protection of his
He has every right.
Life.
He has every right to protect himself, but it seemed like that.
Well, see, and maybe if I were to talk to Jonah about it, I would say, can you take it on as a character?
Right.
So it's an acting exercise. It's not you.
Right.
You're not in this chair saying, well, the movie's about this, and it really has a fun idea. Mm-hmm. And that's what it is. You get people in the chair, and they sit opposite you, and the cameras are set up like this, and they come in, they say, how are you? Nice to see you. And question, it's the same. Tell me about the movie.
Right.
Did you have fun on the movie? Tell me about your character.
Right.
Who's the goofiest other actor on the set?
Right.
And they go, thank you very much. And they leave. Next person comes in, sits down. Tell me about the movie.
Right.
Tell me about your character. Who's the goofiest person on the right? And it's like you have to take, in order for your own sanity to not slip away, you take on a character of, this is the first time I've heard that.
Right. Well, that's also one of the great things of improv. One of the great improv exercises in the world is new choice.
Yeah.
New choice, new choice.
New choice.
So somebody asks you the same question, you have a different answer.
That's right.
Same question, different answer, just to keep your own brain alive.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
that's fantastic.
I think that's probably where I got it from the improv games.
Right.
To being able to do that and jump into some other reality.
Yeah. I say it 1,000 times. It's so good for everybody. If you can do it, if you can find it, it's so good for everybody.
It is essential, I think, for so a lot of parents that I talk to are worried about my kid wants to major in acting.
Right.
We're from Des Moines, Iowa. I'm nervous. Is he going to make it?
Right.
And I go, first of all we want from our children is to be happy.
Right.
So if he or she is happy, support that. Secondly, they're going to learn things that will help them in their life. Because in comedy, improv, taking on a character, presenting themselves, at some point in every person's life, you're going to have to present yourself to others. You're making a toast at a wedding, a eulogy.
Right.
You're going for a job, and you're sitting across from 3 people who are in the final stretch of getting this job. You have to present yourself and sell yourself.
Right.
And so having acting as your background can help you in that.
Did you ever worry about Taylor going into acting? Did any part of you ever say,
no,
it's a hard life?
The only thing that my wife and I were observing as she was growing up, is she in there for the right reason? Does she enjoy performance? And she does. It's all came naturally to her, and understandably, it was the family business.
Right.
So she is so far advanced now than I was at 30.
She started earlier.
Well, she and she had that.
Yeah, she had you guys as models.
Guide her.
That's fantastic. Yeah. My son Charlie is a musician. He did many great songs. He's done the themes to this show as well. But,
good.
But he did that in 2 minutes. He cares about other things much more. But part of me, my dad's a writer. I grew up in show business. And my dad was worried about me surviving in show business. And now my son wants to be a singer-songwriter, and he's going to be in show business. And I worry a little bit about that business, but the music business seems a little,
I'm not a worrier by nature. I think I just think, let it go.
Okay, done.
They'll find themselves. No, I mean, it's like, truly, it's all the exploration.
Right.
I mean, do you find yourself saying, I'm glad I'm not starting out now? The business has changed so much from when we were raised. And
I do say that.
And you know what? Your son will also say the same thing when he's thinking about his child.
Right.
It's like, oh my God, it's so changed. It's just the progress. And we have to go. He's going to hit walls, and then he's got to figure out, is this telling me something? Should I go in a different direction?
Right.
Or can I figure out a way around this wall?
Yes.
And that's it.
Of course. Now, are you sad that you didn't start your tequila company in time for your daughter to be in the tequila business?
Dos Hombres is mezcal, by the way.
Oh, mezcal. Okay.
It's a mezcal.
Right.
So it's not tequila.
Okay.
Tequila is a mezcal, but a mezcal is not a tequila.
Okay. So school me on that. So tequila. So mezcal is
a spirit that's made from an agave plant.
Right. Okay.
Is a mezcal.
Okay.
Tequila is made of one agave plant, the Blue Weber agave.
Okay.
100 years ago, really, literally 100 years ago, they were making their mezcal only out of this blue agave because it was massive.
Right.
So the yield was far greater than any other agave plant. And by virtue of that, they were undercutting the other mezcaleros in Mexico because they had so much more. So they could sell it for less, and they would brutalize. Right. So the government stepped in and said, listen, okay, you continue to make your mezcal, but from now on, you can only make it out of the blue agave, and you have to change the name. You can't call it mezcal.
Okay.
In Jalisco, which is the main state where they're making tequila, the largest city at the time was Tequila. So they just named it that.
Plus they had that great song.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, so it's good.
They had the good song to go with, and that's been hundreds of years in the making.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what it is. Every other mezcal, there's about 35 different varietals of agave plants that you can make a mezcal. And to this day, tequila is only made out of the Blue Weber. Okay. We make our mezcal from espadín, which means sword in Spanish. It sticks up like this, and it is beautiful. It takes about 6 years to mature.
It's great. I had it at your poker tournament. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was very good.
It's really tasty.
Yes.
Really
that's
tasty. And doing well. Dos Hombres is now like the 5th largest sales.
I was going to ask if there's room for a Tres Hombre, because I just said, I don't know what I could bring to the company, but I could probably bring something.
You're the lone hombre.
The lone hombre. That is amazing that you know all the history and that you love that mezcal that much.
I do. I love the business. I love our mezcal. I enjoy it. I drink it, and I get at this point I only want to be involved in things I can be passionate about.
Right.
I would be a fool to do otherwise.
Right.
Because I'm financially secure.
So you're not a fool.
Right.
Okay. These questions I have to change.
Oh, you got to change all the questions.
It's all right. It's good.
Oh,
but that's fantastic.
Sorry to throw the wrench into the program.
That's all right. So that is the dream. I'm so happy, by the way. I was happy after Malcolm that you had this great experience with Malcolm in the Middle, and that you were and money and fame and all this stuff had come to such a great guy, and then exponentially shot up through the Walter White and that kind of thing. It's like when great things happen to great people, there's such joy when that happens.
Yeah.
Like there's
especially if it's you.
But there's nobody who knows you that went, that fucker. Honestly, it's like, fuck him. Fuck him and his success. Every single person who knows you is really happy for your success.
Thank you.
And the people who don't know you, who may be jealous, they don't know you, because you're awesome. You're an awesome guy. I really
listen. I get to play for a living since I was 25 years old. That's all I've done.
What are the other passions that you haven't hit yet that you hope to?
As an actor,
just in life.
I don't even know.
Life.
I've played so long now in this sandbox that at 25 years old, now I'm about to be 68.
Years young.
Yeah. I think at some point I'm going to have to take a break.
Okay.
Because I think that if I continue to work at this pace, I'm going to be depleted of new ideas and new experiences, and I need some more life experiences. And going from one bubble of a movie set to a theater that's not life experience. That's a very privileged life, and I completely acknowledge that. So I think I need to step back, push the pause button, figure things out, go down a road that I haven't been on before, and see what happens. Is there
in the back of your mind an adventure, that non-show business adventure that you always...
Yeah, I thought, well, it would be interesting to, at the same time of exploring something I'm unfamiliar with, maybe learn a language, go to a country, learn a language, read the great classic novel that I swear I'm going to read, but other scripts come in and I have to put that down, and it's like, am I ever going to read Moby Dick? Right. At some point,
don't bother.
Don't bother.
Don't bother.
It's overrated.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
It's not what it.
Yeah, it's fine.
But the other part of it is that interesting how celebrity catapulted me up, and it's like you're unprepared for it, and you kind of have to figure it out as you go along. And oh my God, all this attention, and your partner becomes the plus one.
Right.
In our industry.
Right.
And it's like, yes, she's always, but I've been married for 35 years now. And it's like, the business has created this inequality of placement.
Yeah.
And I kind of want that pause button, I want to see, let's even things out. Let's go someplace where we don't get all this attention and noise, and let's just live our lives in a new way and see how that works for 8 months, a year, or whatever.
Okay. So, it'd be interesting to find out where that place is.
I know.
That you're not recognized.
I'm not sure where that is either.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question though?
Yeah, sure.
Could I take a
Yes.
mini break?
Yeah, anything you want.
I need to go to the bathroom.
Yes. Let's go.
Sure. Oh, okay, cool.
Don't be alone with Jake Hogan.
two observations. Whenever you go to a public bathroom and you're trying the door,
right,
and if there's someone occupying that space,
right,
they lose their identity. And so I was trying to get into the bathroom, and I hear someone's in here.
Yeah,
and I was like, someone's in here, and it felt like the person was changing the tone of their voice because they don't want to admit that they're going to the bathroom because that would be too human.
You might recognize the tone of their voice or something. Yeah.
Are you pooping?
Right.
You know, and it's like, yeah, someone's in here. Oh, okay, sorry. And then I get into the other bathroom, which says women's, but it's a toilet.
Sure.
There's nothing different about it.
Sure.
So and
you're secure in your masculinity.
Very secure.
Come on, you don't have that problem.
I don't care if someone sees me.
Sure, I got it.
Step out of the ladies' room, but it's a one person at a time toilet.
So it doesn't matter. Yeah.
And yet the owners of this building decided to put in two sinks in a one person at a time bathroom.
I didn't know there were two sinks in the ladies' room.
There are two sinks. Well. And it's like, I wonder, I mean, do you ever go in and go, I'm going to use the other thing?
I've not been in the ladies' room.
I normally use the left one. Yeah. I'm going for the right one.
In the men's room, the outstanding feature of the men's room here is that when you wash your hands, and then there's nothing to dry your hands with, but there's a dryer on the side.
Yes.
And you put your hands in the dryer, and it's right over the sink. So everything in the sink gets blown out of the sink and across the room.
Yes.
And covers the toilet and covers the walls.
I noticed that.
What the fuck?
I got a little spray on my sweat.
Yeah.
You know, if I was in nice clothes with a shirt and a tie, it'd be a little upsetting.
Right, but you're not, thank God. Thank God you dressed appropriately
I dressed
for my
appropriately
show.
For
Did I say there was a dress code?
There was.
There was. Okay, well, good. I'm glad you had. When somebody knocks on the door or starts jiggling the door in a bathroom, I just make no... I don't say I'm here. I make human noises to hope that they hear that somebody's here.
Yeah, because you're even less acknowledging that you're here. Instead of someone's in here.
Yeah.
It's like,
or just like, oh God, it's coming. Oh, just some, whatever bathroom noise is appropriate bathroom noise.
Or actually, it'd be interesting if someone's trying to get in and you just go, oh baby, yeah, like that, right there. Oh yeah.
It's almost open.
Just like that. Oh, I love it.
You can come in. Don't worry about me. Yeah, that'd be fine. Bryan, it's time for listener questions.
Oh, really?
Somebody has sent in a listener question. They didn't send it in with you in mind because everything done here is terrible. So, like, ideally, you would say, well, what questions do you want to ask Bryan Cranston? But they didn't do it.
It's just a general question for whomever you might be.
General life question from somebody who listens to my show and sent it in. This is from, wait, there's a theme.
Now it's time for Listener Mail.
This is a question from Gary Chun. He says, what inspires you in your daily life and why?
The first thing that inspires me is that I actually wake up.
Okay.
And I realize, made it another day. Here we go.
Is that honestly a first thought? Like I made it?
No, not really.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
That was flippant.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, but I mean,
I'm not a person who worries about death or anything.
No, but I mean, I was going to say the other way, that you're mindful, so mindful that you wake up and go, I am here and I'm going to make the most of my day and that kind of thing.
That's more of me.
Yeah.
That when I hear people passing away and it's like, oh man, getting closer and closer to my age, I've got a lot to do. I got to get going. Got to get going. That's more of how I think of things.
I'm inspired by my living too, but I'm more shocked at how many dead people I know at this age. Like, what the hell? I didn't think by this age, I'm just 60, that I know that many dead people. Yeah. And from different eras of life and people who died young and people like, oh, wow.
I know. Those transitions, you go through the period where you go, now my parents are now old and I'm going to go through that. And then you then ascend to that, I'm the oldest one in my family now, and they're looking at me like, well, at any moment, he's going to pop off.
But the process of getting older and seeing that and sort of knowing it's going to be your turn at some point is probably good for us, because at that point, we're sort of like being prepped for get to better do what you need to do, like you're saying, better get it done. And if it happens, if tomorrow it hits me, okay.
Yeah.
I've lived a pretty good life. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I don't prefer to die, but
You're right. And also your relativity to age changes.
Right.
So now that we're both in our 60s, you're
Right.
young in the 60s, and someone dies at 63. When you were 23,
Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, he's old.
Old man.
But now that you're
Exactly.
60, it's like, oh my God, he's so young.
Too soon.
He's so young.
Yes, I know.
It's
And
like-
then I start comparing myself to celebrities who've died at different ages. Go, oh well, I outlived Elvis. I outlived this person. You know, just try to figure out.
like it's a race.
Yeah, George Harrison. Am I older than George Harrison or
Yeah.
younger than George Harrison would do? So
And is that a lump? What am I feeling?
exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm ready for all that. But that I think Gary Chun should be very happy with your answer.
Well, thank you, Gary.
Yeah, thank you, Gary, for asking that.
Yeah.
This has been spectacular.
Oh.
I am thrilled that you came in and did this. There's no reason for you to have come here other than you're a great, lovely person.
No, I'm happy to do it.
You're very kind. I asked you, and you didn't. It was just so. Yeah, let's figure it out. I love that.
What
And
else?
I'm-
What
and
else
I'm-
could
I'm
you
grateful.
say? But now, where did the title come? Don't be alone.
Originally, the show was I conceived it during the pandemic, thinking that people are too lonely, that everybody's too on their screens and everybody's too on their texts and stuff.
point.
And I kept wanting to say, can I do something where I sit face to face in a room with somebody and we have a conversation, and then encourage other people, especially people my son's age, to actually have conversations on the phone or face to face, and you can hear intonations and you can see the humanity of the other people. I feel like everybody's buried in machines, and I didn't like that. And then I thought that'd be a funny joke.
That's a great point.
I thought that'd be a funny joke.
Yeah.
Seeming a little pervy would be funny.
Don't be
So
alone
there
with
you
Jake
go.
Hogan.
Yeah, because I'm a fucking comic. So what do I want to do? So that's all good. Anyway, thank you for being here, Bryan.
Thanks, Jay. Good to see you
You're
again.
awesome,
Thank you,
and I'm going to have you back next week. Is that okay?
Next week.
Is that too soon?
Can I be a sidekick? So I'll just
Sure.
sit next to him and just laugh at everything you say. That was good.
If you laughed at everything I'd say, then I would have to marry you. I think that's really how that would go, because that's what I need as a comic. So thank you very much.
Thanks,
for
man.
being here. So, and thank you for being here, audience that I don't know. The four of you are very loyal. Thanks for being here. If you have anything you want to write in, you can write into Don't Be Alone with Jake Hogan. It's dbawjk@gmail.com. And I will take your listener questions or your suggestions or your severe criticisms of everything I do. And I will internalize them, and I'll come back here crying. But I want to hear them. So anyway, thank you for being here, and go out and don't be alone. Share your life with somebody and other people. Don't be alone. Thanks.
Don't be